the state of the team right now. It's the first time we got to hear from Brad. He can't openly talk about the trades, which can't be official until the league year begins, but the reporting is out there and everybody knows. You've got Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis issuing their own goodbye messages to fans. It's not a secret. That's the most shook I've seen Brad in a long time, because he had to basically deliver, through the media to fans a message that, like, guys, we're gonna suck a little bit. Like, there's no there's there's no other way to put it. Like,
why didn't you just tell Brad to come up there with a straw, okay, and go, this is what we're gonna do right now.
And he used, corporate speak coded language. He said the term regain flexibility 6 or 7 times, and asset management, adding more assets and things like that. He kept using these buzzwords to basically, they're euphemisms for we're slashing payroll and we got to figure out a way to get more stuff. And when asked about whether they're going to compete next year and how they're going to compete and are they going to go get more guys, what both he and Zarin said was, we're going to have to kind of live with what we got. We got good players here. Now, how hard is that? These guys on a much better level than we do. You're close to the team. You're there. What do you think Brad's going through right now, knowing owners, you don't know what exactly they're telling them, but there's pressure to get out of that tax, which he had to do. And then there's the pain of having to give away players without getting necessarily, equal value in your return. Then you got to turn around and face the media and the fans and be like, we're looking to compete next year. And you don't have your best player as well. It's a hard sell, and he's in a weird spot.
I think Brad is the best guy to do it. And let me give you an example why I say that. Brad Stevens traded away Marcus Smart. He was invited to Marcus Smart's wedding and told Marcus he wasn't going to get traded. Traded him, but Brad Stevens still showed up at the wedding. That to me is a sign of like a guy who is really confident in himself and knows what he has to do for this team. I don't think that anybody's looking at it.
He knows.
And he knew that, as you said, the bill had to be paid.
But
and because of you having that bill to be paid, I don't care how it is, you can deliver the message as good as you want. You remember, John? I'm give you a scenario. Remember when you had a girlfriend one time, way back in the day? You had a girlfriend back in the day, and she would tell you, "I think we're gonna break up," and she said, "It's not you." What do you mean it's not me? What the hell you mean it's not me? Brad Stevens has said, look, to the fans, it's not you. It's something that had to be done. So I think he delivered the message in the best way he could.
Yeah.
And now you move on from there.
Max, it's never me. It's never me. But that's fine. But in terms of Brad's perspective, you're going back to his college career as a college coach and through the Celtics, he's done nothing but overachieve. Granted, he had a rough end to his coaching tenure where he had a difficult time making the pieces fit and reaching some of the players on the team there. Transitions to a role that's completely unfamiliar to him and immediately is a smash success, brings a championship to Boston. He's really only, for the most part, in his professional career, presided over victory, presided over good things, created good things, either through his coaching acumen or what he's been able to do in the front office. And he knows right now his mission is different and he's got to build it back up. But right now he has to be the face of, I'm not going to say failure per se, but a face of something that's totally different.
Be the face of rebuild.
Yeah.
And that's what you say. You don't want to use the word out, but you're rebuilding.
Yeah.
And you're rebuilding your force, and you can really say it out loud because you don't have Tatum.
Yeah.
If you had Tatum and Brown back and you had, and you just still had Derek White and you add small pieces around him, you're still good enough in the Eastern Conference where you're competing to maybe win the Eastern Conference. I don't know if you could win a championship, but you're still competing in that way. So So yeah, I think that face is really good. I think that he's done all he can do, and you'll move on from there. I mean, the easy part of being in the background is no longer there for Brad. You know, you were good. You have young kids, and you know how it was with the Wizard of Oz when Toto finally went behind that curtain and pulled the curtain back, and he was saying, "Oh, never mind the man with the with the hair standing there. You know, he's doing nothing for us." Well, now you're in front and center if you're Brad because of the position of this team.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt about it. It's a tough spot to be in. It was weird watching him squirm. Not and again, that might not be the right term, but it's weird watching him know this is.
You're not comfortable.
I'm,
I'm
I'm
not comfortable
I'm not
here.
comfortable here. I'm
Not
not
comfortable.
comfortable talking about this. I don't like it. I'm stuck here. I
Well,
gotta say,
when has Brad ever been really comfortable?
well,
Talk,
I think he's
he
amazing.
is. He is always. He's been very, very shrewd in his delivery,
Yeah,
whatever he's wanted to do, and
no,
you've kind of had to fill in the blanks when
yeah,
it's come to Val, when it's
Matt,
come to Brad.
but he's a master at talking a lot and saying nothing, but making people feel like he said something. He looks them in the eyes and he gives his little smirk, and the reporters are like, he likes me, and then he didn't say anything. You go back and you read the transcript, you're like, he didn't say a freaking thing. He's great at that. He's a master at it. But in this case, you could tell he was trying to use those little buzzwords and talk around what was basically like, guys, we're going down. Ship's going down right now. And that's it. So it was a weird spot to be in. I'll ask you this because you mentioned Marcus's wedding, and this is where I wanted to end things. Because it's weird, right? You get traded, you're somewhere, they value you, the fans like you, okay?
Don't.
And I think it's worse in Marcus's situation and in your situation, to be honest, because you got traded and then a good thing happened. They trade you and a championship happens. They trade Marcus and a championship happens, and that has to hurt. Luckily for you, you'd already won a couple, so you're like, look, I did my part, I got mine. They went in a different direction, easier to live with. Marcus spent his life here, didn't win it. Now, Kristaps and Drew, they also did win it. So again, their perspective is different. But I'll ask you yours. When you get traded, what's that like for your relationship with the existing players? What's that like for your relationship with the coach? What's that like for your relationship with management? What are the feelings you're going through when you're you and something like that happens and they're like, you know, we're moving on?
It is. And it depends on how long you've been there. With Marcus's case, he was homegrown, so that was a whole nother story. He was homegrown. I was homegrown. I had been there all my career. I didn't know anything else. So to all of a sudden be exiled and sent out, it was very, very difficult and very painful. Um, I think, and even now, I think the relationship is really different when you think about players because back during my time, there was no cell phone. So we weren't communicating the way these guys communicate now. We were on Twitter. We weren't having, going to people's homes. So my relationship with the former players I missed them, but I knew I had to go on. They probably missed me. Knew I had to go on. Um, and it was bittersweet
Yeah.
in a way. And you think about winning the championship. Well, obviously, I had one too, Finals MVP. Uh, Seventh game of the second one you win. 24-8-8. So my legacy with this team was in a good place. It was just that I got hurt. They felt like I couldn't. I didn't try to come back from an injury, and it gave them an opportunity to trade me. And I talked to Robert Parrish about it. He said I really felt bad for you, in the sense. He said Red Auerbach came to me and said Max doesn't want to play here anymore. He said, Red, that's not true. Why are you guys putting that narrative out? And I think that's the same thing with Marcus. I don't think that we question Marcus's hustle, his grit, his determination, but where he fit in this team, I think a lot of people in the media, including you, always had a question about
Yeah.
his shooting or lack of shoot or playmaking
Sure.
ability. But he was just as confident as you right now, not confident in it. He was just as confident. One
Yep.
time the Celtics went on a road, went on a run, and it was me and Marcus late at night in Orlando. We both went down to pick up our bags, and the Celtics were playing well, and he had just been inserted into the starting lineup as a point guard. And I remember saying to him, I said, Marcus, so you guys are playing well right now. And he looked at me, and I will always remember this. He looked at me and he said, that's what happens when you let your fucking point guard handle the basketball team. And because of that, that put me in that way, like, look, the way you felt about him, the way he felt about himself, those were completely different things. So
Well,
it's hurting when you leave. I'll put it like that. It hurts when you leave. For him, it probably hurt more because the very next year you win the championship,
yeah.
and that had to be very, very difficult. I mean,
Yeah.
you think Grant Williams leaves, you win the championship. So all these things happen, and it is as painful as can be, but it's something you have to understand as a professional.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to move on.